One other story I want to hit today, before I get to the debate, very quickly cover, but Lieutenant General Michael Flynn still not freed from the left-wing attack on him. Lieutenant General Michael Flynn still facing Judge Emmett Sullivan in Washington, D.C., still represented by the brilliant attorney Sidney Powell. And Lieutenant General Flynn is now, waiting. He's in front of a judge in which the Department of Justice has moved to drop all charges. And it's almost impossible to state in common everyday terms, non-legalistic terms, how bizarre, unacceptable, inexplicable, just intolerable the conduct is of Judge Emmett Sullivan, because he's the judge. He belongs in that of the three branches of government. He's the judge. That's the judiciary branch. You have the prosecutor, the executive branch. The DOJ is the prosecuting arm. They have said to him, we want to drop all charges against Lieutenant General Michael Flynn. And Judge Emmett Sullivan is stepping out of the role of judge and into the role of prosecutor and saying, no, come on, play with me here. Somehow we can find, the judge in this case, member of the judiciary, can find a reason to serve as prosecutor and somehow bring about a prosecution of this man, even though the DOJ says they don't want to prosecute him anymore. I mean, it is impossible to overstate. I'm a lawyer by background, and I've been told a few times I get too far in the weeds on legal things, but you have to understand this is way out of the ballpark of acceptable for a judge to be doing this. So back to Washington. There was a hearing yesterday in federal district court in Washington, D.C. Sidney Powell's there, and Flynn, and the judge, and the prosecutors, all of them. And there's a lawyer there representing the guy sitting on the bench, Judge Emmett Sullivan. So the judge has a lawyer representing him in court, very bizarre, and that lawyer representing the judge is arguing for reasons the judge ought to somehow find a way to arm twist the law, to contort the law, so the judge can bring about a prosecution of Lieutenant General Michael Flynn that the DOJ is not bringing. I mean, people, it's unheard of, unacceptable, and a true contortion of the rule of law in America. Just a complete, profound contortion of the rule of law in America. So Sidney Powell doing a great job, of course. Two quick points on this. The reason they're so determined to get Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, number one, he got in the crosshairs with President Obama, and because he actually, bizarrely, Flynn is a Democrat. Let's hope he changed parties soon, but he's a Democrat, and he was serving in our military under President Obama, got sideways with President Obama, who was already didn't like him, and then when President Trump wins, and Lieutenant General Michael Flynn agrees to become National Security Advisor. This was too much to stomach for the Obama administration, and they did their entrapment of Flynn. And now that we finally had some, fresh air from some sunlight of truth into the DOJ's operations, and we became aware that what the DOJ was trying to do was not investigate. They were trying to find a reason to get Flynn, and those notes came to light due to the actions of this inspector, this Attorney General, this U.S. Attorney, John Durham, who's investigating, and he found all these handwritten notes making very clear that the entire point of the investigation of Flynn was to find a way to set him up, find a reason to set him up, to prosecute him, put him in the position he's in. In the hearing yesterday, Sidney Powell, brilliant attorney, was making the point that essentially if the judge in this case, Emmett Sullivan, wants to be the prosecutor, that he has to recuse himself as the judge. He can't be the judge in the case where he's also the prosecutor. It's a fundamental notion of separation of powers. While you don't ever have the prosecutor, which is the executive branch, the same thing like district attorney, the prosecutor can't also be the judge. This is the way you keep rule of law, you keep fairness. Those are separated. So she said basically, if you want to be the prosecutor, you should recuse yourself as judge. Second point that came up that caused a bit of a kerfuffle in the news was there was discussion about Sidney Powell having acknowledged that she has spoken to President Trump after the DOJ filed their motion to dismiss all charges against Flynn. Sidney Powell, has spoken to President Trump to urge him not to pardon Flynn. She wants to force the system to work. I don't know all of her reasons, but once she said in court that she had a conversation with the president, relating to not pardoning Flynn, there was a kind of I don't know, I said kerfuffle, a reaction like, well, wait a minute, is she really, is she supposed to be doing that, talking to the president? She's allowed to do that. She's allowed to do that after the DOJ has already made their move. They've already moved to dismiss, and she's just saying, if you pardon him, you let, essentially, I won't put words in her mouth. My assessment is she doesn't want him pardoned because ultimately, if he's pardoned and the case goes away because of pardon, all the bad actors, all the wrongdoers get away with it. They all get away with it because the case is gone, moot, and she's saying, let's get justice, really pursue justice.